The Nephilim, or giants, are one of the biggest reveals in modern history, in my opinion, because it really gets to the root of what we are dealing with and where all of the new or ancient technology is really originating from. And most importantly, it confirms the biblical accounts of the fallen angels and the Nephilim they produced. So my goal is to bring out any relative or supporting information on this topic, a closer look, if you will, at locations across the United States that others have already outlined for us. Areas in each state that may have really brought more questions than provided any actual answers. With some of the information that is now being brought forth by eyewitnesses, we see the picture being painted more clearly of what this country's true history is. All of these Nephilim remnants are attached to the occultists of today. All of these ancient evil practices are still being performed on and at some of these ritual locations. It appears that everything is connected, so it's with prayer that we start looking at some of the evidence of remnants of the giants across the United States. And we need to keep in mind that most of these Indian or temple mounds have a formed narrative surrounding them that include that they are Native American sites. However, many Native Americans confirm that these mounds were already present when they arrived. Lake Jackson, Florida. Lake Jackson is located a few miles north of Tallahassee, the capital of Florida. In this surrounding area of Tallahassee, it is known as the Apalache Province, which is the southernmost extent of the Mississippian culture. This is key here, because in my research I have found the Mississippian culture has many indicators that they are a people closely associated with the Nephilim and followers of those types of occultic practices and beliefs. Sun worshippers, cannibals, who stayed on the land where the mounds or Nephilim evidence is. They continue these practices, performing rituals in these strategic locations all across the United States. This area was also known for the Apalache Massacre, which happened around 1704. So this land area was the location of many Native Americans or indigenous people being slaughtered. I also believe this is key because of the blood shed on this ground. Interestingly, this area was also named by the Apalache people as Anahita or Anahisa, which translates to the elite place of. Perhaps putting things a little more in plain sight here. Lake Jackson has 6 preserved temple mounds of 7, 2 of which are open to the public for viewing. In my research, I found that Lake Jackson was at one time the estate of Colonel Robert Butler. This led to me asking the question of who owned this land, Who wanted to own sites of Nephilim remains? Who wanted to own land where a known massacre happened? Occultists, perhaps? People involved in ritualistic activities in locations known to have paranormal visitors? Colonel Robert Butler was the first land surveyor or surveyor general of Florida. On this estate, he established one of the earliest plantations in Tallahassee in 1824. Butler and his siblings became wards of Andrew Jackson in 1805 upon the death of their father, who was good friends and served in the military with Andrew Jackson. Junior Butler, or the son, attended West Point at the encouragement of Jackson and went on to marry his niece, Rachel Hayes, at Jackson's home in Tennessee, the Hermitage. Interestingly, and not surprising, is the inscription on his grave, which reads that he was a Grand Master Mason of the F&AM Lodge, a general in the Army, and the first Surveyor General of Florida. His resume reads like that of our current political elites, doesn't it? According to one website, Butler held the Feast of Roses annually at his estate in honor of his wife Rachel's rose garden. Knowing what we know, maybe he held this event as a Rosicrucian, huh? It also adds that Butler organized the first fraternal organization in Tallahassee, Jackson Lodge number 23, no less, Masonic Lodge. Well, this definitely lends to the idea that certain lands in close proximity to temple mounds or Nephilim artifacts and evidence are desired by the elites, either in private ownership or in land grabs by entities that they create, and let me repeat that the elites create, like UNESCO, BLM or the Bureau of Land Management, FEMA, and DARPA, just to name a few. Thanks for following this series. Next, we will look at Kolomoki, Lamar, and Ocmulgee areas of Georgia.